Five, four, three, two, one.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What is up, Knick of Time family? It's your boy, Lee Escobedo, here for a very, very, very special show. Obviously, we got my girl B, the motivator, but we also have a very special guest for all of you Knicks fans, basketball lovers, and AAU heads out there. We have the only current female CEO of an AAU team here in North Texas, Jade Colbert, a legend herself who comes from a legendary tree of Dallas basketball royalty, and we are very excited to have her on the show today because for many reasons. One of them being she was over the AAU team of new Knicks rookie Dink Pate, who is going to be joining the summer league squad, signed as a free agent draft pick, went undrafted. Surprising to me, I had him mocked in my second round. He went undrafted and hey, that's to our advantage because now he's going to be playing for the Knicks, suiting up for the orange and blue. So again, who better to talk to him than someone who knows his game and him as a person and a player behind the scenes more than Jay. Jay, we are very happy to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you so much to have me. I'm really grateful, to do this podcast and have this opportunity to speak with you guys. This is my very first one, so it's an honor for you guys to ask little old Jade. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jay told us before the show started she's been asked many times before, but has turned it down. I'm very happy that both my worlds are colliding. Both the AAU team I've thrown my support behind in Dallas, the Urban DFW Elite, and then my Knick of Time show, which also has a co-host, a AAU coach herself, and Baller, my main girl, B the motivator. B, how you feeling?
I'm great. By the way, Jay, don't say little old Jay. That is super dope. Shout out to our ladies who are just doing the thing in the coaching. For real, that's super dope. It's
Yes,
a pleasure. It's an honor to be here on this with you.
you as well. You as well.
You know,
Okay, congrats. I didn't know that about you. So
Yes,
yes, I love to
yes.
see women doing their
That's
thing.
why I had to hop on here. I gotta pick that
I love it.
brain.
I love it.
so Jay, to kick it off, I heard y'all went undefeated. Or I say we went because I consider myself a part of the Urban DFW Elite family. We went undefeated 12-0 this past weekend at the Puma tournament. You want to give us a little update on how the three teams played this so far this weekend?
um, well, you family, so of course because I want to thank you. You always supporting us, day in and day out. But I think the boys are finally turning and kind of peaking and kind of meshing together. They play well together, and they beat a little butt this weekend. So one thing I will say, I'm really proud because it's kind of paying off. I know we've been up and down. Then you have players fall off and all these complications, but now we kind of starting to see the fruit of our labor. So I'm just excited to see what these boys do in July. Honestly, I'm excited and I'm
Well,
proud.
I'm proud of you. I know the team here at KOT is proud of you, and I know for a fact that your father would be proud of you. And I want to start with your pops, the legendary Jazzy Hartwell, who started the organization Urban DFW Elite in 2005. Talk to us about your dad. Tell us about y'all's relationship in terms of basketball. I know he coached you to a championship. Talk about him behind the scenes, forming the organization, and what his goals were in terms of DFW hoops.
Ooh, okay. Let me be completely honest. You know, growing up and seeing it as a little girl, my dad coaching and being on the end of the bench until, you grow about 8 or 9. And my dad, he sacrificed a lot. So, with that sacrifice of him doing urban, he sacrificed a lot of time away from us. Um, our relationship, I'm gonna be honest, it grew in high school for the love of basketball. And so I had an older sister. He wasn't really present with her in basketball and whatnot, but our relationship kind of mended because of basketball. Him loving it and I loved it. And so he saw I took it serious, honestly. And I never forget I had a coach in my middle school. I went to Atwell. So we was in the city championship. A coach came and recruited me from Dallas Lincoln. So when he came and recruited me from there, my dad took me there. I played a couple of years there, and then we started the AAU team, girls side, urban. So with that, it was kind of rough because my dad is a hard coach, and I'm a girl too at the end of the day.
We're
you know,
sensitive.
you know. And so I ain't gonna lie, we had our rough patches, with trying to divide that father daughter and then coach player. Um,
Mm.
but I ain't gonna lie, it worked because it kind of built me and made me for this person I needed to be today. And I didn't see it then, but I definitely see it now. So just seeing, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been around it my whole life. Seeing the work my dad put in since 2005, and he died in 2020. So when that happened, it was abruptly. We never knew it was coming, and it just kind of fell in my lap. So I couldn't see my dad. It's like a baby. I couldn't see my dad baby just go away. So I kind of just had to step in, and
Mm.
I seen him do it. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up in it, I seen the ins and outs, the sacrifices. The blood, sweat, and tears that people didn't see outside of the household and everything he sacrificed. So I couldn't let it go to waste. So after that, I took it on without even knowing, and now I'm in it. This is my 5th year. So I'm just happy to have it going, and I'll be honest, it was at points in times I didn't think the program was gonna last. People said the program was gonna last past 2 years. So to be honest, I'm just grateful and I'm humble for the growth because I haven't always been this person and thinking I would be able to run a program. And it's tough. Be you're a female, African American female, so you can understand the stigma that's put on us in a male dominant industry and trying to help kids, and that was the main thing growing up saying, I will say that with my dad. All my life I seen my dad help kids. All my life. Any kid I ever contact, and I'm be honest, a lot of people love me off the strength of my dad. My relationships with my brother that has came in the program. They love me off of the love my dad gave for me. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing that and seeing what though that love can do for relationships down the line. There's no way I couldn't let it go to waste. So here we are today, talking to y'all.
Hello.
Amen. And I've heard in interviews at some of the post games, you talk about some of the misconceptions that you've had to face as a black woman leading a boys AAU team about the you might not know ball or you don't know enough as a guys. And I have two former ballers here, yourself, two winners. I would love for both of you to speak about, and Jade, I'll start with you first, about some of the struggles, fears, and anxieties it is working in a male-dominated field, being a black woman, and really not having anyone else like you to look to as a mentor or to learn from, and really have to set that stage yourself from the jump.
Um, it's hard because I grew up in an era watching my dad. He was that fiery coach. Like we knew going in that gym, he gonna hype you up and get you ready to play. So me growing up in that, it consumed me. And like when I'm at games now, when I go in and I'm passionate, or some days I'm gonna be honest, I try to chill. But when I feel like my boys need to hear my voice and I need to push them and motivate them and get them to get going, they mistake it as I'm being rah rah or want this attention when really I'm locked in and loaded on my kids, trying to get them to feel the passion I'm feeling to be able to play in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So that I'll be honest, prime example today, I'm in a gym, Riff told me I needed to stay in my place and not even knowing who I am or what, you know what I'm saying? So it's just those stigmas like, well, you need to be quiet or you don't need to be that loud or you need to be cute. And it's just like, I was raised around boys, so I am who I am. I'm a little rough around the edges. I can't lie, but don't mistake. My dad always taught me to be a girl. So after my game, like we're gonna lace it up and it's gonna get ugly and bumpy. But after that, I'm gonna be cute and be a girl. So and it's just one of those things. Like, but you live and you learn. And one thing I will say, I used to be so torn up about it and beat myself up. Now I don't. I just learned to just, hey, I am who I am. And it's crazy because now I can go in the gyms and be who I am and a director that be there and over the tournament. We're cool now, So it's just being an understanding and actually having a conversation and talking to me. Then when they talk to me, they're like, okay, you know what? You really are. So it's just that for me. Honestly.
B, how about yourself, girl?
I wonder if you went through this process too, because yes, in the beginning, I can agree. I took a lot of things personal. I felt like maybe I don't know what I'm doing, maybe this or that, but I learned that
Mhm.
they're trying to break you more down than build you up sometimes. And that's where I think you got probably the advantage where your dad taught you that. I didn't have that advantage at first. So there was a lot of games where I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this isn't my thing, my lane. So I never had the privilege of coaching older guys, only for fourth and fifth grade boys, so that was a little bit easier for me to maintain. So I wonder how does your voice get to these men sometimes, these older men? And I learned, and if you can agree, eventually in time they learn to respect winning versus
Mhm.
gender. So
Mhm.
was that something that
Mhm.
that helped you with that?
Actually today. It's crazy you asked me that. Like for real. Actually today. Like I think today after the games, usually, everybody be so rah-rah, but it was just nothing to say because he couldn't say nothing because we won at the end of the day. So I just let that speak for itself. So I definitely agree. I
Did
agree.
you ever feel that way though too, like where this is not for me, or did your dad prep you for that?
No. Okay, can I be completely honest? I was thrown into this. Listen, I grew up just grew up because I grew up in it for so long. I grew up at the YMCA. So I was always after school program, basketball, tournaments on the weekend. So it consumed a lot of my life. And so on the flip side of me, I'm a girly girl. So I have a cosmetology license. I like, sometimes putting on clothes and, but the basketball consumed me so much to where I wanted to get away. So when I graduated high school, I didn't even play basketball. I went to TCU off the strength because I graduated number 2 in my class. So I did that. Yeah,
Don't
I
have to
did
say
that.
little old Jade again, girl. Go ahead.
I did that, went to my cosmetology school, and my dad, it was friction because he was just like, girl, you need to come on, get your degree, come coach. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so he died. And I was just like, girl, you got to do this. You got to do this. So it just came to that point. I ain't going to lie. So many days I thought I couldn't do it. So many. I'm be honest, 2 years after the program, um, I had like half a staff leave and half a team leave. And I had a meeting, an end of the year meeting. They all told me they was leaving and starting the organization. I was young then, a little fiery. My dad died and I'm still learning myself and becoming a new person. Um, I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I called my godmom and I just went to her house and I cried. Cried, cried, cried. She said, girl, we're gonna get this together. I'm gonna call Ronnie and Bobo and girl. And we had a meeting one Sunday at that house, baby. And when I tell you, since that meeting at that house, it's been up from there. It's been up from there. So it was days where I didn't think I was gonna make it. And that's why I feel like now I try to be in my soft girl. I told my brothers I'm trying to just get at the games now because I'm so comfortable. Everything is coming all together full circle. God got his hand in it. That I say. Yeah, definitely to answer your question. No, I did not. But I'm here.
That's a really great segue. I'm glad you mentioned Ronnie and Bobo. Ronnie Morgan, for those who don't know, and Jamison Morgan are two players that I watched win state championships with South Oak Cliff in the mid 2000s. I've been a hoops head in DFW for a long time. Yes, I'm old. And when I went into the gym, my friend invited me to the Urban DFW practice about 4 months ago, and I walked in and recognized immediately Jamison and Ronnie from the days of watching them win state championships. Ronnie now is a GM for Urban DFW Elite and Jamison is a coach. And it's incredible to see these two guys I knew when they were kids, to now see grown men helping out and making it a family affair. It's one of the things I love the most. It was immediately struck by Urban DFW is how much it's a family affair. These kids become family when they join the squad. And the squad has been deep. Her father and her have cultivated numerous NBA players. Daryl Arthur went through the program. The current Detroit Piston Marcus Sasser went through the program. We're probably going to have JT Toppin, who went through the program, be a first round draft pick next year at Texas Tech. And there's one player that also was on the team that is now in the NBA, and that is Dink Pate. So it gives a good understanding of just how rich and deep the DFW talent pool is. And to me, in my opinion, there is no more legendary team than Urban DFW Elite based on the names I just played. And one of the things I'm struck by the most, this is the second, not the first, the second Urban DFW Elite player to join the Knicks. because Ferron Hunt was an alumni from Urban DFW Elite, who
You are
then
like
was
that.
signed to the summer league about 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was Jericho Sims' rookie season is when he joined the scene. So now we have a second player, which means there's either some contact working with them or some scout based there in Dallas that's watching those games and understands what Jazzy has built and what Jade is continuing. It shows a legacy of that program in DFW and how important they are to the area's hoop talent. Jade, I'll let you comment on that and the legacy your father and you have built.
Um, it's crazy when you say that. I remember one summer when I was trying to get out the way, but my dad always took us to Vegas when you mentioned Ferron. Ferron actually playing him and TJ. I done seen them in some gyms out there in Vegas really competing and getting to it. But just as a whole, thinking back, I'm not gonna lie, um, to see my dad and what he has did and the impact he has made now from just being a young girl to really not what's going on, but what's going on with my brother at the green room in New York when he got drafted. So to see that, it's funny, I used to always kind of be the person to humble my dad, but he really was the GOAT, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's humbling. Sometimes it gives me chills. It's really a feeling you can't even explain. And I just really kind of thank God for that, to see this going on right now. So it's a good feeling. And to see Dink right now, because Dink comes from an era and a root of kind of what my dad built, being the underdog, you know, being overlooked, um, not chosen, misunderstood. So it's coming from that era of when you get your opportunity, I'm gonna seize it and show people. And that's where my dad came from. He always had a chip on his shoulder, and he taught toughness. That I will say. When adversity comes, you find a way to you be tough and you stick through it.
Yes.
So you know we here now, and to see my dad do that.
Jade, I see you at every single practice and every game. You're not a sideline spectator. You're there, you're calling out plays, you're calling out defensive assignments, you're motivating the boys to play better defense or to communicate on the floor when the ball screen's coming. That's one of the things, again, I was struck by when I went to my first practice was how active and intense you were and how you really are that you're like the last line defense. When the coach's voice ain't falling, when the GM's voice ain't falling, you have to step in and fix what's going on with the team. Not so much a player, but with the team. And your time um, with your father, watching your dad, what did you learn in terms of how to motivate these kids? And what are some of the things that you look for to make sure that your players are executing, whether it be in practice or in a game?
Um, One thing I saw my dad teach that basketball translates to life. Um, so he always taught us to, when things get hard, you show up. Um, I think for me watching him when he was young and not knowing what he was gonna do from leaving Team Texas to getting his Reebok deal, um, it just always taught me toughness throughout my dad life. And I say that even aside from basketball, my dad showed me how to be the rock in life, in my family. And so one of the things he always put in me, like, you got it in you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be tough. And I say this because I lost my mom at a young age in second grade. So with that, him raising two girls, it's like I really don't know what I'm gonna do with y'all, but um we live life with him. He made it work. You know what I'm saying? We stuck through those sacrifices and whatnot. And I don't know, y'all. It's just like a life experience over countless experience he showed me to just withstand and know that you're gonna always make it, and and believe and be tough, and don't ever let nobody see you sweat and knock you down.
Amen.
So I just try to teach that to my boys, even when we come into practice every day. It's a reason. It's a goal. You're doing this for nothing. What do you show up every day for? You know what I'm saying? So I just try to let that translate over to practices. Being on time, holding them accountable. My daddy going to gym. I grew up watching him in the gym. When he say something, everybody in the gym shut up. They drove into what he said until I played for him. And then I felt it. You feel his energy. He loved tough games, like good hood matchups. That's the best feeling in the world because one thing my daddy gonna do, he gonna motivate you to get up and play. And I let that translate over to my kids because life situations happen. And my dad dealt with a lot of kids who didn't have perfect homes. That life was probably upside down. But this basketball right here, this orange basketball, this can take you places and get you out of your situation. So I try to hold my kids accountable every day in practice. Like you playing this orange basketball, get you out of the situation, go help your mama. Make it help you. Your mama ain't gotta work a day in her life because you did what you're supposed to do on that court. So just getting them to understand life is after this. That's my biggest thing. And I think the biggest thing for me, my dad had a relationship with his kids after basketball. Just like now. My kids call me to this day, coach this and they in college. So just seeing him do that kind of was really instilled that in me growing up.
Do you want to follow up to that? I'm sure you can add some wisdom with what you've been going through recently, just health setbacks and being a single mother, being an AAU coach. I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Yes. I think that was one of the most difficult things for me, trying to separate, but then I realized it helps trying to separate the personal with the basketball because there were so many kids who do play basketball that is in a lot of unfortunate situations. Um, and you try to not bring it onto the basketball court, but then I realized that you kind of have to. You have to use that as motivation for them to realize that this can change your life. This can change the whole scenario. So how do you keep it business, but leave the personal? Like how do you mesh all that? Because that was one thing I truly struggle with tremendously. I also deal with girls, so there's a lot of emotion, a lot of emotion on the court. A lot of the times I'm like, oh god, girl, like not right now, but like I didn't never want it to seem like I don't care either, because I realize when you get that emotional, when you get that personal thing with them, they hear you more on the court.
Mhm.
They'll listen to you. You can tell them
Mhm.
right in the middle of the play, stop what you're doing right now, do a 360, and they'll just throw the ball over because you said so.
Yep.
So yeah, how did you mesh all that together? Because that's something that's very difficult for me, that I won't lie, that I'm really struggling with, but I want to get better at.
Great question.
Uh, ooh, that's tough because you did have girls, and I'm gonna be honest. Girls, ooh, we used to get my daddy blues. I'm gonna be honest. He had a bad.
Especially that top of the bump, that's like,
Yes,
oh.
yeah, that too. I was about to
And
say,
then when you
girls,
coach,
it's
they all
just
getting sick, and
yes,
it's
you
like,
get it. Okay, I was about to say, can I talk about that for a minute? Because dealing with women, you be entwined. And if it's more than three, you're bound to get into it or argue about something. It's emotions. Your periods do sink. But I just try to be relatable. And I try to build that relationship with them off the court in a sense. I get to know my kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I really care. And I'll be honest, that's the biggest thing. I got so many kids. I say this, I got kids now that know if they need something, they can call me. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have rough talks or heart to heart talks to know, for them to know I'm in that corner and I want what's best for them. Despite anything, I want what's best for you. And I think that just comes with, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher assistant right now, but I graduated in July. So I work in a school district as well with underprivileged kids from the same district I graduated from. So just kind of knowing your demographics and knowing I want to pour into a place that poured into me, and I know what type of kids I have and catering to. So just getting more information about their situation outside of basketball, I say. And just having that heart to heart and building that bond. And then I promise after that, they'll run through a wall. Because it's funny you say
Yes,
that.
they
I be at
will.
games, people look at me, I say something to my kids, and it might be a little harsh, but they be like, did you just? And my kids gonna be like, I got you. Yeah, they know. So
Real
they hear
quickly
that
too, do
voice.
you feel it's easier to have those relationships with the boys versus the girls? The girls versus the boys? Because as a woman to woman, um, I felt like I could relate more to the females. Um, but I felt it was easier to deal with the boys. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Um,
Trick one.
I know, right? Um,
Or do you
because
feel
it's
like it's
like
the same thing? If do you feel it's the
I was
same?
about to say it's kind of the same because I live the best of both worlds in a sense, being a girl on the girl AAU team and knowing the bonds that we had with my coach. Because I'm gonna be honest, like we had female and male, but for my dad, even though we had friction, but when when we on this court and go in these gyms, you better not talk crazy to nobody or nothing. Know what's up? We just had that type of bond, and it's been like that with women, So I think when my kids see that I'm gonna stick my neck out for them, they be like, okay, cause Jay got us. Yeah, I got us. So come on, I'm gonna have your back. You have my mind, have mine, and I think that type of energy is contagious. That we a family. We as one when we go out. They mess with one, they mess with all. So just having that family bond, that works. It works. It creates culture.
That beautiful conversation is a great example of why we're so lucky here at the KOT team to have an AAU coach, former player, and be the motivator. Because I can just sit back sometimes, just listen to two great female leaders in the hoop scene, be able to talk about things from a perspective that only they know. I think that uniqueness is very important to be showcased. I'm just very grateful to be able to have that conversation on this channel and for both of you women to be a part of it. I want to talk about Dink. Now, Knick fans are really, really excited about this. And I think if Tom Thibodeau was still our coach, Tibbs was fired about what, 2 months ago now. I don't think he would have been taken by Leon Rose because Tibbs was notorious for not playing young players. But now that we had Mike Brown as a coach, there's a higher probability that he'll make the roster maybe on a two-way, or maybe he'll be a full-time G League player and have an opportunity in some situations to crack the rotation and play spot minutes, whether it be a blowout or if they're playing Charlotte or Wizards on the road. Knicks fans are very excited about the potential of size and ceiling at 6'8" for Dink as a point guard, which, man, I've read everything there is to read on him. I've watched tons of tape on him, and I would love to hear your perspective to start. What is he like as a person? You were around him for multiple seasons. What's he like as a human being? I love the article in Slam when he was talking about his experience playing in Metzger City, but I want to bring it back even before that, when he was in Pinkston High School practicing with Urban DFW Elite. Tell us about Dink, the person.
Dink is just a good kid all over around. Like Dink has that lighthearted charisma. When you meet him, you can't help but like him. There's no way. You can be mad at him and still gonna like him and talk to him. That's just the type of kid he is. He's a respectable young man. He has a lot of grit about him. His competitiveness. So I love Dink, and I
What's
just
he?
love him.
What about as a teammate? What do you remember as him as a teammate during games or during practices? Was he vocal on the defensive end? Was he a good communicator? Did he unite the players around him? I would love to hear that back behind the scenes.
So what I will say, when Dink came on to Urban, Dink was young. So Dink was really supposed to be playing 16s, I think, or freshman, and we play him up on 17s.
Damn.
So yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So he was kind of on another circuit, and he wasn't really getting that much burn, so to say. So
That's crazy to hear because y'all have some really talented players on the 16-year-old team right now that's not playing with the 17-year-old team. So that means he really had to have some phenomenal upside to have a trust in him to be able to play with the 17-year-old. So that's a big jump.
yeah, so with him just being a team player, I say he was young. So one thing I will say, Dink just had a certain grit about him. He was a great player, but when he came in, he was playing with older players. So it's kind of like he had to, in a sense, gain their respect. So he came over already having a chip on his shoulder. The other programs didn't really want to play him up. So when he got with us, it was kind of like a point to prove. But after he gained the respect from the other players, it really just meshed. So he wasn't really a vocal leader, I say, but he kind of led through his actions because he had to gain the respect of the boys. So it was just like, we ain't finna listen to you talk about it. You got to be about it. So that's that's the kind of player he had to be with the team he came over into.
I'm gonna turn the mic over to B, but before I do, I want to shout out to a special super chat. We got $10 super chat from Jay Buddy. Prayers to you, Jay Buddy. Know you've been dealing with some health issues. Glad to see you in the chat, supporting the channel. He says, shout out to the chat And this KOT show, blessings, health, life, and happiness to you always. The album, the KOAT, knits over all teams, coming in October. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Jay Boogie, we love you. Prayers to you and yours. God bless you. All right, B, I'll turn the mic over to you.
Lee just filled me in with all these NBA people, NBA and professionals that you come across. When Dink walked into the gym, what was the first thing that you noticed about him? Did you know that he would be what he is today? What is like, do you just feel that aura? Because there's a lot of players who came into my gym that I always say they look like basketball players. Like they just look like stars. And on top, he has the name too, by the way. I always say if you got the name, you gotta have the game.
He does have a name.
He has a really cool name, yeah. So when he walked in, was he another one of those guys that you're like, yeah, I know? Or did you have to, like you said, with the chip on his shoulder and he hustled and he proved himself? Or over time did he prove himself to you? Or did you know as soon as he walked in that gym, that's our guy?
Yes, being around my dad, one thing I will say, like, one thing he told me, it ain't about looking the part, it's about if they got that it factor. So when you walk in that gym, you gonna know and feel if that person got that it factor. And Dink got that it factor of, yeah, when he step in, you gonna know I'm here to show y'all. Like, he just has that. And it's not even about a cockiness, it's about, a confident thing when you've had all the odds be against you. Like, wanting to fight that battle just in life to show people. And he had that chip on his shoulder. So like I knew, yeah.
That's awesome. I loved his recent interview. I just felt his energy through that recent interview that I watched too. Some people just got it. I'm glad that you could yeah, those people just got it, man. And
Yeah,
I'm glad that
got
I
it.
feel like certain coaches do have that eye. And I thought it was like that's where by the way I did realize that this is for me. Because there was a lot of people who came in and came out and I'm like, some people you gotta work through. There are some players you have to work with them. There's some players that no matter how much you work, it's just not gonna work. And then there's somewhere you walk in and you're like, I cannot wait to get my hands on them. So that's really cool that we got our hands on him. Really cool.
Yes. And I'm just happy to hear that. So congrats to you. Yes, I love that. I love it.
And you talked about how young Dink was, the same situation he walked into at Urban DFW Elite as a youngster. He's walking into the NBA. He's currently now the youngest player in the NBA as after foregoing his senior season at Pinkston High to go into the G League, the former Ignite. What about this kid gives him this like confidence to go into these situations at such a young age and like prove himself? He's seen that chip you described on his shoulder. What is it about his personal makeup or maybe his confidence in himself that allows him to really test his limitations and put himself in positions where other players might be too scared at that age to even try?
I'm gonna steal my dad's terminology. Just knowing how to be a stud. When you fighting that battle of wanting to make things better and just simply drink. That dream was to be in the NBA. I'm gonna be honest to you. Like he was vocal about that when he came to the program, talking to his people and getting to know him. Like that's what he wanted to do. So I think once that really set in on him, he knew the work that came with that. So like I just knew with that type of grit and his type of work ethic, like, he's the type that he want to prove you wrong. Everybody else too, who always said I was too young to do this, and so I'm gonna be honest, feeling that energy from a kid and me coming in and having to take over a program at 25, I felt that energy. So it was just like we was here. We could see each other's story. It was relatable. You know what I'm saying? In the hope. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's why I say when you have them times, girl, do not quit. Because listen, people got to see other people doing it to have hope. And that's what I just try to do to my kids and show them that. Like, for real. So Dink has that whole charisma about him. I just knew that, like, yeah. When he came in, I was just like, okay, you rocking, I'm rolling, okay?
How often do you hear one of your players say, I'm going? I know, I'm sure all of them want to be in the NBA, but
That was my next question, Lee.
how often do you hear I'm going to the NBA? Because DFW, in my opinion, is a top 3 city incubator for NBA players. I mean, no one knows it better than you, Jay, the Tyrese Maxey's and all the players that came out of here. Like, how often do you hear I'm going to be an NBA player? And what do you think about him, his family, his environment actually got him to his dream?
Support system. And his support system holding him accountable. And when Dink took that challenge on and said, "I want to be in the NBA," they was just like, "Okay, well, you want to be in the NBA? Well, let's do it. We got to figure out the steps to get you ready." And I think when he just took that change on when he went to prolific, I just think it expanded him as a player to see a whole different system and how you can evolve and kind of grow, and him just wanting more, and getting a taste of that. He was just like, "Well, I can do this. Okay, well, bam, now I can achieve this." So I think he just always had that about him and doing that. So
Badass.
I just knew it with him. Some people, they don't understand really. It sounds cliche too. I want to go to the NBA with other players, but the ones that's gonna take it serious. I mean, your life change. You got to be dedicated to it, and people don't understand sacrifices, 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 sacrifices. You know, so he did. You know, so I knew it was possible.
Do you kind of feel like a lot, like, I don't know how to ask this question without sounding a little crazy, but do you ever feel like we got lucky, or do you really understand, like, I know what it takes to get to the NBA? Like, how did you learn the steps to get these men prepared for the NBA? And how did your dad help you understand that? Or did you just Dink walked in and he walked into your system and you feel like luck just came on your end? But it doesn't seem like luck. It seems like I feel like you can give me that answer. Like, how do you feel like, how do you tell a young man, all right, I want to go to the NBA, and you're like, let's get there. And there's a lot of young men who,
Yeah.
but you made it happen several times. So like, how do you continue to build that system to know that this is what it takes to make it work?
By sacrificing and putting in the work and letting the boys know it's a system. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, I think this is when I was playing basketball AAU, and to be quite honest, my daddy just did the AAU because I went to Lincoln. I had friends. We all loved to hoop. We all had this bond. We really just wanted to win and win championships. My dad did the AAU, but like, I worked out with boys my whole life. So when I took it serious, my dad had a system. Okay, I'll say this. I graduated in 2013. So when I was playing, my daddy had a really top AAU team. He had Jordan Mickey, Kavar Shepard, Shabane Thomas, Brandon Parrish. He went to TCU as well with us at up there. So like, we had workouts in the summer with NBA trainers. My dad had trained one time named Fist. So like, we knew the formula. It seems like this glitz and glam. The formula is getting in the gym, finding a box. This is the formula, finding a box. It could be hot. Ours was hot, but the kids are bougie. With a goal and get in there and you train every day.
Love it.
Makes sense.
Every day.
That's a home run answer.
Every day.
I had two questions from a chat. Dorkasaurus asked, how does Dink Pate take criticism when he was in your program and you had to give him feedback? How did he respond to that? And then Fritz Alcindor, the best mod in the game and a part of our channel, a fellow co-host, asked if Dink has a nickname, or is Dink Pate enough of a nickname?
The only thing I can think of, he loved Tupac, so we used to play mess with him about that, calling him Pac and stuff, because he loved listening to that type of music and whatnot. And just having his mentality and taking after him. But in reference to the Dink question, when you said, repeat that again.
How did he take criticism?
Oh, wait, how did he take criticism? To be honest, he was young. And when we all young, how do any young person take criticism? You know what I'm saying? Like, to be quite honest, you know what I'm saying? But when you have that rough patch or that friction of, that bite back, like, once you fight through that, it was all good. Once the kid know you, everything is coming from a genuine spot or holding you accountable, because you said you want to go to the NBA. So you can't take my criticism right now as an AAU coach and a little video of me. If you want to go, you might want to get used to this. So I just try to, I'm gonna be honest, I always do that. Sometimes I do it just to mess with my kids, but most of the time I do it to bark knowledge and information. But I want them to get to used to that type of criticism. So I knew Dink was gonna be where he was gonna be. He has grown now, but when he was younger, of course, any kid, but it wasn't disrespectful criticism or anything like that. He'll take it, but after that, he gonna go do whatever you want him to do.
Do you Do you see this is the number one question I've been wanting to ask? Do you see him more as a point guard or do you see him more as a wing? Because I looked at the teams that were in the finals this past season, OKC and Indiana. They had tons of guards with size that could handle the rock, get playmate for others, and get their own shot. Dink has a size. Some say he's 6'7", some say it's 6'8", but does he have the handle and the guard skills and the floor vision to be a guard, or do you think he's going to have more success with the Net Summer League in a wing type position in transition?
Oh, I don't know if I can answer it like this, but both. I'll say that. When Dink played with us, his height was leverage. So him coming down the floor and being able to orchestrate the offense and see things that other people couldn't see, it flowed. It came natural with him. I'm gonna be honest. But on the wing and right positions with another good point guard, Dink can be a good wing and a scorer. He's a good shooter, and I believe in him and being a good shooter. So I think he can actually do both and really excel in both positions. Either or, whatever challenge he has to step up and take, a role he has to take.
Do you think
Some
certain levels of shooting affect the player though? Because I did see he struggled a little bit, on the higher level in the G League. Um, but you saw it at a younger age that he was able to shoot. So do you feel like sometimes the competition is the reason for that, or do you feel like just a part of the game that he just has to grow more and learn different speeds and different things like that?
I definitely think he has to put in the work and growing more and learning the games and different speeds, when to take shots, when not to take shots, the right shots. So I think it comes with that. Um, and you can't ask me because I'm biased. So I feel like
Take a show.
but honest opinion, you know, I just think it's
Yeah.
nothing a little work can't fix. Honestly, honest opinion. So
Yeah, I know when he was in Metro City and I talked to his dad on the phone, they confessed that they were worried about their safety some of the time, not all the time, but some of the time, especially outside of games when they were happening downtown. You're worried about being an expat in a country that you don't speak the language of. That can't be a comfortable situation all the time. So I kind of understand some of the issues that he had, but the shooting numbers were pretty tough. He shot 25% from three and 40% from the field. With that being in mind, let's say maybe that's a struggle the first 2 or 3 games of summer league. What are some other ways you think Dink and his skill set can impact the game, whether it's on ball, off ball, as a playmaker for others, maybe it's a rebound at the guard level? What do you think he'll bring in terms of intangibles if his shot's not falling?
rebounds for sure. Um, I think he could definitely impact defensively if he worked at it and did his best. I definitely think that. Um, and I think, to me, honestly, and maybe just knowing the Dink that I know from back in the day, I think Dink is a shooter as well. So, I think he getting in that gym and doing what he got to do, y'all will be able to see that jump shot that I know him to have. So, you know.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. But we need that. How do you see him fit next to a Jalen Brunson?
Oh, ooh. She didn't mention a point guard. We got the best.
I think that mesh could be very well. It could be really, really good to see. To see him, both of them play together. Young, new to it, and I think Dink is gonna be able to mesh with it well to learn, and willingness to learn from other people. So I think it's gonna go really good.
What's
Getting
his
that gym.
I was going to ask, what's he like defensively? I think about him next to Brunson. If you're not pair a guard with Brunson, he better be able to play defense because that's probably the number one area Brunson struggles in because of his size and lack of athleticism. How is Dink defensively? Does he tend to be better when using his size and small guards. Is he capable of guarding up to twos and threes who will match his size in the NBA? Where do you think his strengths will be? Is it playing the gaps and trying to get steals, or is it more just as an in rotation, guarding his man and being able to guard upon switching ball screens?
Being able to go out up and switching ball screens, playing the gaps as well. Um, I definitely think with his position, he'll definitely be a good defender for a 2 or 3. With his size. But yeah, I say 2 or 3.
Love hearing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that insight.
We need. That's
What
what
do
we
you
need.
what do you think about that, B? I know you love defense as much as I do. Are you excited about the prospect of having another guy who can play next to Brunson without being a cone?
Yes. I wanted to go back into his age because I'm not a big fan of players so young. But the upside is he's so young. And he can learn a lot. So we do have a new coach, Mike Brown, a coach who will hold his defense as well, and he will hold you accountable. So I like the fact that you mentioned I already kind of drilled that in him. He knows that if you want this, this is how it's gonna be. So um what in your system, are you guys defense first, or what type of system is he used to that anyway? Is he used to the fact that we play defense first anyway? So if I got to come in and that's what I have to do, that's fine, because most likely that's what he'll do on the Knicks. Or again, did you guys lean into more offense, where that's something that it would be difficult for him to, a little bit more difficult for him to adjust to, because this is what he's used to?
Great question.
It's funny you say that. When Dick came, of course, he was young. So any young kid dream of making it to the NBA is they feel like they gotta drop 40. They feel like they gotta, you know what I'm saying? So when he came into us and having the program that we had, now you're playing up. Now you're playing other top players. So now that we know you can score on those top players, now can you turn around and guard that top player? So in my program, one of the things that practice you gonna hear, if you can't play defense, you can't play for us. You can't play for us. If you can't play defense, you can't play for us.
I love
Love
that.
Love that. Love that. I got a little bit of chills hearing that because, man, with him and his size, if he could be an unbelievable point of attack defender for us, damn, man, I'm telling you, we could
For
be
real.
that championship trophy sooner rather than later.
For
Uh,
real.
I got a question from the chat, and then I'll hand it back to B for another one. Fritz wants to know, is there an NBA comp or a college comp that you would compare Dink to? I know it's 6'8" point guard. That's there aren't very many of them, even though maybe there's a few throughout history that were really successful. But is there someone you can think of that you might compare his skill set to on a
Great
college
question, Fritz. Great
level?
question.
On the college level, hmm, his size.
Do we have a Magic Johnson or not? um,
I was thinking like Sean Livingston was the closest comp that I could think of
ooh,
because he was a little bit better of a ball handler, I think, than Dink, but I think Dink might even be the potential for him to be a shooter, I think, could make him a very similar comp to him for what he was in Golden State Warriors.
I agree. That I agree with.
he's a 101.
Yeah.
He's a 101. I think we
Just
got
like
our
a
own. I
team.
think we got something on our hand.
Anything else for you, B, before we close it out? Any other questions?
No, that my last thing though is too. I'm glad that I learned a lot from you, Jade, today. And one of my major things I always told my players, I don't care if you have 20 points. How much did your player have? And a lot of them is like, oh, she had 20, 25. Then I don't care if you had 20. I want to, So I like that. I'm gonna keep that my thing. I love defense first. I don't really care about offense too much. We have to score. That's a part of the game. But can you stop them? So I'm really excited to see him. Um, I'm actually going to be a new fan. You got a new fan. I'm looking forward to checking more in on you guys and seeing how you're going forward. I thank you, and I think it's truly a blessing to host to be in this type of space with you guys. So thank you again. Um, I don't know if I have any other questions. You guys got it all. We got it all. My last question I would just say though is yes. How do you stay so humbled in such a male dominant field? Because this field is very difficult. There's every time I go into AAU tournaments is maybe about 3 or 4 of us. Do you actually see more women too? Do you see more women? I used to just see about 3 or 4 female head coaches. The rest were men. And a lot of the times they'll look over and they'll like chuckle, like, "Oh, they got a girl coach. Like, we're gonna win." And it's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We gonna win." So, how do you just keep the competition level high? Keep, like you said, players respect winning, and you just went undefeated. Congratulations to that. So, how do you again just stay so humbled in such a male dominant and keep going, keep going?
Um, I stay humble because I know what it feels like to be at the bottom. I know what it feels like to be counted out. Um, when my dad died, and my first set of coaching staff and team left, I didn't think I was gonna bounce back. People counted me out. Oh, Urban ain't the same. Oh, so just knowing that things can be taken from you at any moment is that keeps me humble. And knowing that I'm here now and making it through those storms. Like to see the sunshine just a little bit now when you didn't been through, it had been hard. So I just try to remind myself of that. But while also trying to be grateful and live in the moment, I sort of say. Because I ain't always, I guess, having working with my family, it makes stuff easy. It puts my heart at easy. So our heart at ease. So us working together, it's like it just helps with the foundation and knowing where I come from and humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to do that while also grind and give these boys hope. And I just let that be motivation too. When people do come in and don't see women, I think now, I'll be honest, over the past 2 years when I go in the gym and we're going to like Puma tournaments or tournaments here, like we hosted our tournament here. So this is our 20th year anniversary for the program. So when we hosted our tournament here, it was an eighth grade team, and they were called three P League, I want to say, and it was a female coach. So when I seen her, I was just like, yeah. So I always like, do a little girl code, like, girl, I see you,
Yeah.
because it's always like, I felt like when I was thrown into it, I was thrown in at 25. I was young, 25. I'm trying to live, and it was just like responsibility set in on my life. So it was like don't get me wrong, I always had to grow up quick because I lost my mom, but like I really had to grow up, like, sacrifice time and not doing things. And, so I just try to keep it all in the works and keep it going with that and keep me motivated and humble and knowing that we're going to get where we need to go.
I
And
don't. That's
thanking God. I ain't know where I'm at without God. Let me forget.
Amen. Amen.
amen to that. Yeah, we're all believers here on this show, so we love
Okay, okay,
we,
okay.
Yes, yes.
we love hearing that kind of talk.
Yes, for real, might I add.
I got a great question from the chat that'll be our last before we let you go. Fritz wants to know, a lot of old head NBA players criticize the modern AAU game. He would love to hear some positives that AAU teaches and brings kids on their road, whether it be to just playing international or playing college or playing at the NBA level. What do you think are some of the strengths and positives of the AAU circuit and what it teaches young men?
Great questions, Fritz. Great questions.
Um, Teaching them the value of work ethic and knowing that nothing is given. You got to work for everything. So I just try to instill it in my boys. And not only is it basketball, just instilling them to be good young men all around. So it's not just basketball. When you travel, I'm going to be honest, the name of my program is, well, not my program now, I can say that, but my dad named it Urban DFW Elite. That is urban areas, Dallas Fort Worth.
Love that.
You know what I'm saying? So that mainly included a lot of DISD kids, where I'm a native of, where my brothers are natives of, my sister, my whole family. So like when you think about that, you try to some of these kids' lives, they ain't never AU is so different. They never experienced nothing like it. When they travel with us, it might be their first time out of Dallas. We may
Mm-hmm.
add a spot that these kids have never ate before. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? All while trying to get you the opportunity to play in front of college coaches to get a free scholarship. That's the biggest thing. Getting these kids out. giving them hope and making it out of whatever situation is going on to be able to give them a life and build your life, to be able to help your family. Whether it's in the NBA, whether you go to college, you get your degree, you get you a good paying job, you have a family, you take care of your family. So just those type of things like matters too, because everybody ain't gonna make it to the NBA. You know what I'm saying?
Amen to that. Very few. All right, Jade, we have been so thankful and honored to have you on the show. It's been honestly meant a lot to me to be able to combine my two worlds of Knicks and Dallas AAU, specifically Urban DFW Elite, which I've tried my best to help out where I can. I think I finally found an opportunity to really showcase Jade, who I think is one of the most important female entrepreneurs in the DFW scene, certainly when it comes to AAU basketball and mentoring young men. Jade, tell us, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? How can people follow Urban DFW? Do you have any fundraisers you want to plug? How can people help the team and follow you and what you're up to?
Um, you can follow me on Instagram at Jade Colbert, JadeColbert. That's my personal page. And then the platform for the program is the Urban DFW Elite. So we have an Instagram, we have Twitter, Facebook. Um, if there's anyone that want to help in any type of way, we're always open to donations. So I handle the business part too. So we do have a 501c3, so where people can do tax write-offs or donate anything to boys, because we do have boys in our program that are underprivileged, that we do have to hustle, and but they're good kids. So you can't just like what do you do? You know what I'm saying? So we're always trying to do fundraisers and raise money to be able to, accommodate these kids when we are traveling, to not be able to leave a kid behind. So that we have a fundraiser of our calendar. We did just finish Double Good, but yes, that is what we have going right now. So, hey, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter to see, more about our program and what we're trying to do and how we impact these boys' lives.
And I'll brag again, the team originally sponsored by Reebok, now sponsored by Puma. They did go undefeated. Yes, that means 12-0 for 17, 16, and 15-year-old squads. Undefeated this past weekend at the tournament, 12-0. So I'm very proud to plug that as part of the family myself. B, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter. And thank you again for being part of the show. Love having you, sis.
Thank you, Jade. Sporty Spice, 2 C's, SPORTYSPICCE. Thank you again, Lee. You are awesome. You're a pleasure. Thank you, Jade, so much. Got a new fan.
So, girl, nice to meet you as well. Kudos. And I
Pleasure.
just want to say I love what you're doing. Keep doing your thing, and I love to see it, for real. Nice
Hopefully,
to
we
meet
play
you.
against each other one day.
I know one day a little good friendly bit. I love it. I
That'd be
love it.
awesome. Yes.
Thank y'all. I'm so humble
Thank
and
you.
grateful for y'all to be able to, want to ask me on to do this interview. So thank y'all so
Thank
much.
you for making us the first. And of course, always follow Knick of Time Show on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at the KOT Show, TheKOTSHOW. I'm Lee Escobedo. You can find me at _ Lee Escobedo, LeeEscobedo. This has been one fantastic show. Hope the fans have enjoyed the personal, very personal insight on Dink Pate, as well as understanding the knowledge of what makes DFW a mecca for NBA and NCAA talent, and especially the great female leadership we have both on the show here would be the motivator, and down in Dallas, where I'm born and raised, with Jade Colbert and Urban DFW Elite. I will be keeping everyone up to date every time we win in a tournament. Don't worry. I'll be there and I'll share the news and let y'all know how the team's doing. But make sure you follow both of these ladies on their socials, and please, please support Urban DFW Elite if you have the time and the resources. This has been the KOT Show. Much love to everyone involved. Go Knicks, go Dink, and go Urban DFW Elite. Peace out.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.